Peace. I'm alive, victorious.
I'm sure universal.
I'm born sincere.
And this is When the Gods Build. When the gods unify to build intellectually for one common cause.
We show the world manhood
and brotherhood
to achieve godhood. That's peace. Yeah,
Peace.
That's better. How you doing, my brother?
I like that jacket, man.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
man.
that is clean right there.
Oh, man.
God got the burgundy on. I like that, too.
You know the team got the Eagles
appreciate
shoot
it.
for me, yeah.
All black over there, looking like Blade.
I need to take some notes out of y'all cat.
This man always got the all black on,
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm
basic
saying?
with it right now, man.
So I'm keeping it basic.
Man.
Keeping it minimalistic, man. You know,
Yeah.
the Mark Zuckerberg, man. You know what I'm saying?
Got a whole closet full of the same outfit right now.
Except for them J's on his feet. That's not
Yeah,
minimalist.
oh no, that's not minimalist. You know what I'm saying?
Blast from the
low-key.
past real quick.
Yeah, blast from the past, man.
89 shit. Sneaker niggas know.
Yeah, I see. You know, going dipping and dabbing in there, you know what I'm
A
saying?
little spec, bro.
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad your knees is not ashy.
Oh,
my
yeah, you
God,
see
it would
it. You
be
know, I bought
horrible.
lotion, though.
It would
I brought
be
lotion
horrible
just
if you
in
was
case.
ashed up.
I got the ashy kneecap.
Right, that'd be
You get through the
bad.
jeans.
The holy jeans.
Throw some holy water on it.
Hey, go ahead, man.
Right? I'm the deacon.
I got you, my brother. Let me anoint you real
The
quick.
spirit freedom need.
Deacon.
Nah, man. But today, man, today's topic, man, it's gonna be a deep one, man. Today's topic is parental trauma. Yeah.
Ooh.
And for those that don't know out there, you know, just to cover the basis, we gotta discuss what is parental trauma.
Mother wounds and father wounds.
Ooh,
I got both.
You say you got both?
I got both. I've dealt with a good amount of both. I'll say that.
I think we all has, to a degree, some form of both mother wounds and father wounds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some more intense and some to a more higher degree than others. You know?
Yeah.
But do you think everybody experiences some type of parental trauma on certain levels?
Yes.
Even in a healthy household?
Yes. It may not be as profound because, you know, a child could have both parents in the home, yet they may experience areas where they don't get to express themselves. Because their parents could have such high expectations for their performance or their academics, and they may just want to, you know, watch anime, or play video games, but they have to study, they have to train, you know, do extracurricular activities rather than just being able to express themselves. You know, they may want to do art, but the art that they want to do, nah, you can't do that. And so now it's like their voice, their expression is limited because of their parents' expectations, because of what their parents may have went through and the trauma that they haven't themselves dealt with. And so that's being reflected upon the child.
It's being enforced upon the child.
Right.
Yeah. I can see that.
But they're loved very much.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to trauma or talking about trauma, we're talking about, again, degrees of emotions. And I think that it's no way to categorize them in tiers where one is higher than the other. Because I think trauma is very subjective. It's like emotions are.
Definitely.
It's like, again, I think trauma can exist in any area where there's a lack of balance. That's where you start going into the trauma territory. And that, again, to you, you know, you experiencing that, like, man, that happens all the time where I'm from. So it's not that bad.
Right.
But
it's normalized.
It's normalized. So you may have a higher tolerance to degree with that level of imbalance. Where somebody else, that's not their norm.
Yeah.
That little bit.
It's that's too much.
Too much.
That little bit is too much.
So it's subjective. You know, it's one of those situations where you can never you can never tell nobody how to feel. You can't really do that. You know, it's like you can listen to them and understand it, and you have conversations back and forth, but you can't be like, man, you shouldn't feel like that.
Right. Yeah. That's rude.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah. So, you know, I think it could be in all places and spaces.
What are some What are some parental traumas that you all have experienced? You know,
Damn, don't look at me first like I'm like
I
I'm,
looked at him too. You know
like
what
I'm the
saying?
pinball or the poster boy for trauma.
I just look at you because you are a parent yourself too. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that
True.
you give off parental trauma. What I'm saying is like you have it. You have a totality that, you know what I'm saying, me and Boy Syncear might not have to a degree because we don't have children. You know what I'm saying? So
It's fair.
Not to say like I just looked at you after I looked at him though. But yeah, you know, I mean,
Yeah, for me, I wouldn't necessarily. I can't really say. I wouldn't necessarily label my experience as a traumatic experience. I mean, it can be traumatic aspects to it, but overall, it's not like a traumatic. It's an experience where, you had two people. My mother and my father. I think my mom was like 19, my dad probably like 24 when they had me. So I mean, you got two people that grew up in different places and spaces that were malnourished in certain degrees in their growth and development, and they came to make children.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much the same in everybody's situation. Two people that were malnourished in certain areas of growth and development, they get together to reproduce. So from that space, you're going to have situations that's going to occur where there's going to be some imbalance, there's going to be some neglect, there's going to be some lack. So, I mean, it just kind of want to, from the way I look at it, it just comes with that territory. I mean, so I wouldn't, it's not really traumatic to me. It's more so just looking at areas where maybe I could have had more attention or more nourishment in that space. I mean, but I can't really say trauma because a lot of times when I hear trauma, it takes things to a more, and trauma can come in degrees, don't get me wrong. It could be light trauma, middle trauma, really deep trauma. But when I think about trauma, I'm thinking about something that has gotten to such a intense point. You know what I mean? It's like, it's intense to the point where it really brings up very deep, hard emotions that usually can get expressed in a more explosive way. And so, I mean, but everybody doesn't express their trauma in that way, so I don't want to just limit it to that. But I mean, I definitely can see areas in my parenting or upbringing where it could have been a little bit more of this or that, but nothing's perfect. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I'm not even gonna be a perfect parent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You trying to tell us something?
What you mean?
You trying to tell us something?
Not at all. Not playing those games.
About to have a reveal.
Not playing those games. Not playing those games.
Reveal on the show. I'm like, oh man, what?
Nah.
I think it came up for me. And see, one thing about trauma too, it has to affect you right now. You know what I'm saying? Like it has to. I feel like it has to. Well, it doesn't have to, but it's like it traumatizes you in the. Like for instance, when we was rock climbing, and I got to the top of the wall, and I couldn't let go because I didn't trust the mechanism that I was connected to let me down in a safe manner. You know what I'm saying? It took me a little while, because it's like I had a hard time trusting outside of myself. You know what I'm saying? Especially like seeing when it comes to love, because seeing a divorce early on like that, with my parents, it kind of made me distrusting off rip to women. Like, not me distrusting of them, but I view them as if I can't trust them to the fullest totality. You know what I'm saying?
Because what happened to your father? Or both parents?
Well, with my pops, it was just like my pops always was telling the truth, but like even when he was telling the truth, I mean, they essentially divorced because, my mom thought my dad was cheating. You know what I'm saying? But my dad was being truthful, and I could attest to that because my dad's my pops. He'd tell me if he was doing something wrong or right at this age. You know what I'm saying? Especially at this big age that I'm at now. Like it happened when I was 5. You know what I'm saying? But I just seen for him to be so open and just to get crushed like that. You know what I'm saying? It kind of just made me not get into it to that degree with women because I see how it ended for him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
From a man's perspective. And I see her side too as well. You know what I'm saying? If you thinking this way, you know what I'm saying? If you feel that way, of course, if you feel like you cheated on, you're going to want to leave the man that you with. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
I just also see my dad's perspective because my dad was extremely honest. Even to this day, like like I said, you get older, man. And some shit you just can't bullshit about. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's something that he's been adamant about. Like, yo, I always give your mom the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, you know me, so I would have told you how I was feeling. You know, I'm very communicative with my emotions. You know what I'm saying? As far as that situation. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I guess just seeing that allowed me not to trust to a degree. It's like, damn, I don't trust certain shit else. Like, if it ain't me, I ain't trusting it to a degree. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and like I said, that's what it stemmed when I climbed that wall. When I got to the top of it, it was just like, yo, just let go, bro. It's a machine. But I'm just like, I'd rather fall and bust my ass and know it was me than depend on something and then the joint snap off or something and I hurt myself. It's like, man, I knew it. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's not a way to think about things because that's such a small situation, bro. I'm in that joint with kids. Kids like, yo, just drop down. And I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? It's hard for me. I did it eventually, but it's like something so small that can reflect something so traumatic in your life. You be like, damn, bro, I really have got to let this shit go. You know what I'm saying? That's why when I think like when I climb the next time, I think like as anybody for exercise, when you climb the wall, as you're climbing and think about all the things that you don't trust and or think about with the things that you're attached to, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. As you climbing the wall and why you're attached to them, and also think about what you want to let go and the attachments that you want to let go. And then once you get to the top, have all those at the forefront of your mind and then just fall back. Let go. Leave it at the top. You know what I'm saying?
What's even more crazy about all of that is that you attached yourself to the mechanism. So it was a choice you made.
Yeah. Like, I definitely did. Like, yo, I put it on like it's supposed to work. So it's like, but why is you, now that it's time for us to do its job, you just like, nah.
Hesitant.
Yeah.
You didn't hesitate to put it on, but now that you're up there, you're like, oh.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh, man. Work? Yeah. But then once I got over, I was like, okay, you know what I'm saying? And little kids telling me that, man. Little patients telling me that. Even the little kid that was there, he's like, man, come on, just drop, man. Parents telling me that. I'm like, yo, oh, man. Like, but I realized for me, that's, yo, I got to get over this because it's limiting my enjoyment of an experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, all that time I spent up there, I spent a good 15 of it before I decided, like, all right, let me let go. I could have been doing something else in that 15. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, that's one thing that I think stems from that I have to let go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, that's one of my traumas, you know. That's something that I had to really like just, and I'm still dealing with it now, you know, as far as trusting outside of self and then knowing when to let go, you know what I'm saying? Knowing to detach. Because once I attach, it's like, I think it's supposed to last forever. And some things aren't supposed to last forever. You know what I'm saying? Some things are only meant for that season. Some things or some relationships or attachments are only meant for that purpose. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yeah.
And it's like, you know, what is forever? You know what I mean? It's like forever.
Forever?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, even right now, these are just moments. It's not forever. It's moments. And moments are connecting and linking, but it's not forever. The only thing that's infinite is, you know what I'm saying? The only thing that's infinite is change. That's always taking place. Yeah. So it's like, I think trauma as well, trauma is a thing. But what you can see when you dissect trauma is trauma creates perceptions. It creates, perceptions are born out of trauma. They wouldn't necessarily be there if whatever took place. Just like you said, the kids is like, yo, man, let it go. Why? Because they didn't have that experience that colored their perception.
Yeah.
But so they operate in a more freer space. And so this is where, that's why I was kind of saying, like, again, I know, like, my parents, like, again, that's some trauma. But it's like, really what's going on is that how I'm viewing all of that is the determining factor. None of them are perfect. They grew up under people who weren't perfect. In a condition, in a system that's not where they had to be other than their own self.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no way. So I mean, the children, it's funny when trauma, you just watch children and you can learn a lot about trauma.
Yeah. Within yourself.
Yeah, because there's 4 different trauma responses: fawning, freezing, fleeing, fighting. And so we all respond in different ways to different situations, to different people.
Mhm.
You know, like one of my biggest trauma responses that I had to really dive deep into was fawning, aka people pleasing.
Yeah.
You know, when
Damn.
like for me, like I had to deal with emotional neglect. You know, I didn't grow up with my dad. You know, I met the man one time in my entire life. I'm 32. Met him once.
Mm.
My 9th birthday.
Mm.
The only time I ever met him. It was a great experience, a great memory that I have, but that's it.
How did you make yourself accept that though? Like, even with that little, like, cause like, I know me, if like in the capacity I am, I'll be yearning for that experience again. But how did you accept, like, I know this is only gonna be this experience and I'm gonna have to move on from
it? At the time I didn't.
it?
You know, I was just like, all right, cool. You know, this might be a thing. You know, drove down to North Carolina, got an aunt that stays down there. And so, like, it was just like a big thing. Like, my birthday was a thing. So I want to say there was maybe like another cousin that had like a birthday around the same time. So, you know how family do. Like, we just going to lump everything together.
Yeah. Same time.
Yeah, exactly. So, I think it was one of them type of situations. And so, it was cool. At the time, you know, jumping on the trampoline with them, you know, going to the beach, this, that, and the third. It was cool. And then, you know, drive back to Virginia, I'm playing on my Game Boy Color, you know, nighttime, like, all right, gotta make sure I do the move and get the light. I bet. So it's like one of them. And then after, you know, get home, all right, there's no phone calls, you know, on either end. So I'm just like, all right, you know, back to scheduled programming. You know, so so it wasn't something that I wanted. It was just something that I just adapted into because, like, it is what it is. You know, like, I'm, you know, if you don't want to be around me, I'm not gonna force the issue. Because, like, me as a kid, like, you know, I don't really know what to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what to talk about. You know, you know, oh, how was work? You know, he wasn't working. You know, he was, you know, got over, you know, a drug situation. You know, drug deal went bad. He ended up, you know, getting, you know, getting OD'd because of, I mean, his role in the transaction or whatever the story was. And so, yeah, it was just that type of ordeal, you know, dealing with an addict for a dad.
Wow.
So, like, I just really got into sports, just being outside.
I see what you're saying.
Being outside too long and then being on punishment for damn 3-4 months at a time because I ain't coming when the street lights was coming on. Like damn. Like now I'm isolated. Now I have to be by myself.
Damn. Yeah, you have to deal with just, like, you know what I'm saying? You got to deal with that by yourself, you know? But, like, I know for most people, some people, like, I know it's like certain experiences too that they yearn for with their parents that they never got, you know?
Me and I did. I definitely, you know, yearned for affection and attention and, you know, being able to communicate about, you know, what I'm reading, what video games I'm playing, TV show that I'm watching, you know, things that I'm learning in school. I wanted to, but, you know, my mom was active duty Navy.
Yeah.
So, you know, she go to work first thing in the morning, get back, you know, I've already been home for maybe like an hour or two from school. She's tired. So there's no communication there other than how was school today? You do your homework? Are you hungry?
Yeah. Are you hungry? Cook.
Yeah.
And keep it moving. I got other stuff to do to get prepared for the next day.
Exactly.
And the next day, yeah.
So there was always a level of non-communication. So I had to adapt by keeping myself preoccupied with stuff that are enjoying, such as TV and video games.
Yeah, So, I had to do the same thing. My mom may come home to, like, you know, later on, like, you know, leave at 4:30 in the morning, come back to like 6. You know what I'm saying? Because she worked in DC. You know, but like one of the things too, it was just like, I know because my mom was doing it by herself too. She didn't really. It was either her way or the highway. can't consider emotional capacity. Like, even me trying to express myself, like, we get into it and I would try to express where I'm coming from. And she'd be like, all right, see it that way. But it's my way or the highway. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, even now, like, I don't, like, see, that's one of them things where you be like, yo, it wasn't really a traumatic experience. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, you just see a person on their growth and development. They're not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And they weren't perfect raising us, you know? But I do see how I just played away in how I communicate my emotions. You know what I'm saying? Right. To the point, like, I had to tell her. I was like, yo. And like I said, it wasn't no knock to her. Mm. But it's just like she came down to see me one time. I was going to get coffee. I just told her, I said, yeah. She's like, I don't really open up to you like that from an emotional standpoint because it was always shut down. You know what I'm saying? It was always, yeah, but nah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hear you, but it's like I don't care about that, you know? Right. And I think, damn, that goes into the emotional intelligence thing, but it's just like, I feel like she had to knew that she would have listened more. Because, and then, like, I took all them years just to tell her that.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And now that I told her that, her response was, I didn't even know.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it was a similar situation with my mom. Like I had, like, for me, like, my trauma response would either be fawning or fighting, like, just anger. Mm. And so, like, anytime somebody would tell me something that in my brain is just like, no. Mm-hmm. It's just like, nah, I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. And then because of me saying no, it's impeding on whatever boundary that she would have. And so then it would be like, you know, raising out a voice. Oh, you being disrespectful, you talking back, going to get my belt. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, I'm just communicating with something that I don't agree with or that I ain't feeling or I just don't want to do because of X, Y, Z. But because, you know, it's infringing upon something that you're dealing with that you're not communicating, that I have no knowledge of, now it becomes
trickle down theory.
Yeah, it's a problem on both ends. So now you're fighting and I'm fighting, and now we're fighting against each other because of trauma that she had that she wasn't dealing with and just was working through. Yep. Just going to work, come home, go to work, come home, just cycling.
Routine is a habit, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Sickness begins to manifest in the body over time.
Yeah, and so, like, we had to, I went to the Rage Room in Virginia Beach. I invited her out. It was like, for me, it was just like, when I'm in that mode, I want to break something. Mm-hmm. You know, when I'm in fight mode, I want to break something. I want to destroy something. I was like, what way can I do this without physically hurting someone or myself?
Controlled environment.
Yeah. So, you know, went to a Rage Room and, you know, go in there, you get to, you know, break glass and old appliances and things like that, sledgehammer, crowbar, or just simply throwing it or kicking it, whatever.
Right.
And so for me, I was like, this would be perfect for me to just let it out and talk at the same time. You know, they got a little Bluetooth speaker, you play your music. So I'm in my little element. I got my music. I get to break some. It's on. Perfect. Perfect for me.
Wow.
You know, I mean, and she has that fight response also. So we both get to break stuff.
Right.
You know, she had the crowbar and sledgehammer was a little too much. I'm swinging that junk like I'm John Henry's.
You know, that's tough.
Just something that you're saying is making me think. I think, and I tend to look at it like I look at it from subjective views as well. Like, how does this make me feel? And I do acknowledge that. But what keeps me to be able to still have like a degree of compassion and understanding is when the objective view helps me with that. Because see, if I don't go to the objective view, I'm going to take it all like personal.
Yeah.
And I know I am.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to want to, but I know if I take that route doesn't help because I'm dealing with people who are all dealing with it from their own viewpoint.
Right.
They have not risen above and say, oh, this is a system that's created. It's manufacturing us like this.
Yeah.
So once I see that, it's like, I'm stepping across over you and going, I'd rather
be
to
the source.
Yeah, I'm going to the source.
Yeah.
Because no, it's not you. And so that helps me to express understanding and compassion about a situation where I don't become bitter about it.
It took me at the age of now 32 to get to that point.
I understand.
It took me, this year to get to that point.
Yeah.
Because I took everything personal. You slight me, personal.
I don't give a fuck about nothing else. This shit is personal.
Telling me no personal.
All this shit is personal.
And I think that inner resentment I had to let go too, because I was looking at my parents, especially when you get knowledge of self, you look at your parents like, what the fuck were you doing, wasting your time in love and doing all, like, why wasn't you progressing the family for? You know what I'm saying?
That's a fight response.
Why wasn't you, you know what I'm saying? Why wasn't you?
Got the gun out.
You know what I'm saying? But it's just like, yo, why didn't you take the time out to build a better future for us, for me, and the legacy that we got to build forth? And it's like, yo, I had that, like, honestly, I had that resentment. And it's like, it still lingers from time to time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's
I've had it too.
Yeah. But I mean, I think, like, I'm getting over it by being, like, having that perspective, not only the objective perspective, but also these people are doing the best that they can.
Yeah, everyone's sick.
Yeah, like you said, it's manufactured. Like, your perception of life, and it's not the original way. It's a colored way. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're seeing it tainted. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't even, like, how to properly cultivate families and properly cultivate love. We don't even really see a good example like that unless it's on TV. And then that TV example is manufactured. You know what I'm saying?
Right, it's a program.
Like, a lot of times when we refer to Black love, especially like back then in those times and coming up, was what? Good times.
Good times.
Good times, Cosby Show.
Yeah,
which
Cosby
was a good
Family Matters, Fresh Prince.
But they're all giving us that perspective.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, to keep reliving that, it's like, it's almost like when you go to church and the pastor's telling you the problem, but what's the solution?
Yeah, I don't want to keep going.
What's the solution? You know what I'm saying? Like, look at Fresh Prince. Yeah, Will's dad wasn't in his life, but that wasn't really a solution because not many people had an Uncle Phil in their life. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Or not many people had a Dr. Huxtable. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You are not my father. Yeah.
That was a classic joint right there.
Yeah, that was real classic, bro. Like, you cannot watch that joint and not get emotional.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
He killed that.
Like, and it was just, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that resentment, like letting that go too, like, and then turning over that new leaf, like, well, I gotta be the one to do it. And that's a heavy responsibility upon itself, because
it is.
I know it's a lot of children that's like, why I gotta be the one to do it?
Right, because, and then we're given things, tools to fuel to our destruction. You know, we're like, all right, to a numbing agent. Like, all right, I don't want to be responsible for this, so I'm gonna just get drunk all day. I'm gonna get high all day. Like,
I feel like I'm not worth nothing. I'm gonna induce myself and others, to try to get away. Escapism. Try to avoid it. Damn, man. And it's all how to set up. Damn.
Yeah. And so many other things, not to just like harp on drinking and smoking. Like, shit, you could just be in the house and just watching TV all day. Overeating. I
was watching Mav Hoffa's podcast, My Expert Opinion, and he had Loon on there. You know what I'm saying? And Loon was just he was breaking down how he was raised in his childhood trauma and how he was, emoting that. Yeah. And he's like, because he was like, I was just on some shit that was like, because it was done to me, I'm gonna do it to others. Like, because I'm dealing with this pain and anger inside, I'm gonna just fuck somebody up. Like, he would just, like, as a kid, like, beat up other kids. You know what I'm saying? Just because that's how he was feeling.
A fight response.
And it's because he said it changed when he went to therapy. He was in a program to where the people who, you got the teacher, not the teachers, but you got the therapists who are striving to become therapists or therapists in training.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would get paired with the kid and then take them through the program. You know what I'm saying? And he said through that, he said, I learned how to write, and that's how I learned how to write rhymes, because he was like, the first person taught me how to write my experiences down. And then he was like, by the time, he said, so the first one was a woman, you know what I'm saying? And then so she taught me this method and this system, and then by the time I got to the next person, because she had already evolved and became out of training, they put me with a dude. And then he's like, so I got both experience from masculine and feminine, but he was like, by the time I got to the dude, see, I was already writing my experiences down. He was like, but then I was like, all right, how I could write them. He's like, how can I write it for a teacher, the therapist, but then also, how I'm gonna write it to my homies, you know what I'm saying? And or how I'm gonna write it to a person in jail or somebody with slang and ebonics. So he wrote it both ways. Every time he feel anger, feel resentment, instead of beating somebody up, he store it, but then when he get by himself, write it out. Then it went into, all right, I doing it this way, how I do it in rhyme form. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just to channel that aggression, instead of emoting it physically, he was emoting it mentally to train his mind.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like once he did that, he started to see like, yo, how I'm emoting is not proper because it's affecting other people's lives. Damn, just because I'm going through a traumatic experience in my life, I gotta traumatize somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not healthy. And I think like therapy is something that's missed from people. I mean, that's missed from our community. But also therapy is as simple as just listening and understanding somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just sitting there and letting somebody let it all out. Don't taint nothing. Just let them talk. You know what I'm saying? And let them speak. I think like our parents didn't have the capacity or space or time, energy, and resources to do that. You feel me? Like, because they still on the hustle and bustle themselves, trying to provide and trying to come up as well. You know what I'm saying?
Right. They didn't have that.
Yeah.
Right. Because then when everyone is free on the weekend, everybody either catching up on what they couldn't do during the week, cleaning, or just trying to rest up for the week to come.
Right. And I recognize that because, again, I'm studying it now. It's like, okay, I'm 30. I don't have any children, but I do recognize that I'm starved for time. So now I know how I get personally when I have to share that little bit of time with others.
Yeah.
I get territorial about that because it's like, man, I want this shit for me, goddamn.
This is my one thing.
Yes, fuck. So I know that if I was to add other people into that, like my own children, etc., you know, I know if I would have did that in my 20s, I wouldn't have had the capacity emotionally to give them what they was going to need. I knew that already about myself. That's why I did.
Yeah.
That's why I was careful when I was aiming at joint that. I already knew that about myself.
You would have been a deadbeat.
Yeah. I would have been a bad dad in that space because I would have been still trying to get my energy out, but I done just created another energetic ball here that needs attention.
Right.
And I see that happen a lot. And that's where trauma could come into play. Us not really... See, it's the lack of emotional intelligence of self. And then what happens is the natural desire of wanting to connect with another person is present. So you have this and you have that, and they are both competing. And then you start bringing other people into the world prematurely. And this is the duplication of the trauma here. Because when you bring another person, they need a lot of time and attention, and they need the right kind of time and attention. And if you don't have it to spend, you about to create some situations that's going to have a ripple effect.
Definitely.
Because you done just created people, and then them people going to interact with other people. It's like Loon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I definitely see that. You know what I mean? It's very, very important, I think, when it comes to the trauma. You know, I think like I was talking about, I was talking about my grandmother's situation. Like I recognize that our elders, might have been born in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s or whatever. They grew up in that time that really made them very hard. And they never went back to analyze that hardness and readjust it. Some people do. You do see, people might have been a little bit more rougher back in the day and they a little bit more soft in that. You can see that in a lot of different dynamics.
If they have the resources that allows them to do that.
Right? The time, all that. But you also see, like a lot of people that grew up in that time, they hard as a bitch. They coarse. Like that shit is like the way they speak is hard. To be like
you've been through some shit.
Yeah. And it's like you feel for them because it's like, man, I get it. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those situations, I think, with the trauma, man, that it's like.
And that's and to take that into habitually too, it's like when we try to present those people with new concepts of how to deal with it, they're like, no.
Stuck in their ways.
Why? I've been doing this for so and so amount of years. Why I'm gonna switch it up now? And it's just like, yo, nah, this is actually a better way to do this. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, you know, instead of throwing your trash out the window, get a trash can. No, I've been doing this for years.
It's going out the
Throw
window.
it out the window
Fuck
for
it.
years, man. We ain't changing tradition. Like, bro.
But you polluting the earth. Fuck that.
You
but
feel me?
The kids is gonna have to live on. Fuck that.
You feel me? Like, what? Like, yo, like,
how does this work?
And it's like,
Not
damn.
supposed to.
And then that also creates a little bit of resentment because it's like, yo, exactly, we butting heads
Like
and we supposed to bring an understanding.
Right.
I'm just as much as you care for me. Yeah, you're my parent, but I'm a child. I'm trying to help you out too in a way. You know what I'm saying? Especially like when you come up, especially as men, when we start to come of age, the 13s, 14s, 15s, and we're coming into manhood.
Right.
A lot of us want to aid and assist our moms. You know what I'm saying? Especially like I mean, I grew up in, divorced parents. I still seen both my parents, but I always, even to this day, you still gonna help moms, but it's just more so you get that manly urge, like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Let's say your mom start dating another dude, you like, yo, who is this nigga? You know what I'm saying? I don't know who this nigga is. Yo, what's up? What's your, you know what I'm saying? You start checking them like you the man of the house because you feel that way, because it's like, yo.
You're made to feel that way.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like
Prematurely,
yo. And it's like, and then it's just, you just made it, you know what I'm saying? You start getting that little exterior like, nah, this ain't it. And I had to change my concepts of that too, you feel me? Yeah. Because my mom was also learning in that space, you feel me? Like when my parents got divorced, I'm thinking they gonna get back together, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, man, this ain't nothing. Like, who's this new cat you bringing up in here? This my pop's crib still. I'm holding it down till he get back. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, but that won't the case, you know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, like you about to be a little baby kid.
Yeah. Nah, for real, man. Mm-hmm. But it's just those wounds, man. And I would ask a question too, like, do you think some people benefit, or do you think some people's growth and development is better with a parent who wasn't there, or absentee parent, versus a parent who's there but can't provide in the best way possible?
I think it's subjective. I think depending upon a person's level of self and awareness and understanding of the world, I think that they can be able to navigate that space. I think with the lack of knowledge of self and then a lack of not understanding how the world really operates, I think that will be probably the situation that'll make that go left. Again, we live in a system and it's already been set up. You live in America. America is about business. It's not about nothing else. So if it's not a business, then it's counteractive to business. And if you're not operating in a space of business, you don't have a business, you don't own a business, you're usually probably gonna feel the brunt end of the opposite end of that, of that lack of having a business.
Yeah. Right. And that's why, like, when we have like family gatherings, it's never about business. Among, black folks. We get together as music, food, enjoyment, laughter.
Right.
But the moment someone's just like, oh yeah, we need to talk about trust. Right. Talk about wills, talk about life insurance.
Want to talk about that?
I'm like, what?
Big mama handle that.
Yeah, no, yeah. I ain't trying to get into all that. That's too much jargon. That's too much nonsense. Like, no, like I was reading on Bernard Arnault. You know what I'm saying? The owner of the LVMH empire, bro. You know what I'm saying? Louis Vuitton, Moet, Hennessy. And that's all they, like, that's all him and his children. Like, when they meet once a week, they have the round table, yo. They commune. And even then, the children are so embedded into the businesses that is all they talk about. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's not that it's boring. It's because, yo, this is what's keeping the family alive. You know what I'm saying? Right. A lot of the businesses, the children are on the board of directors for those businesses. Right. And it's not like they were on there because, my pops just put me here. No. He made them study, work, you know what I'm saying? He took them around his everyday life, and he had enough time, energy, and resources to cultivate that in them. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And even then, to this day, they asking, yo, who's going to inherit the empire? All the children have said, yo, I would not be mad if it's somebody out the family. Mm-hmm. If it's somebody outside the family that inherits it, I would not be mad. And I'm like, damn, bro, like that's a prime example of how you build your empire with your family. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like
being socialized that way.
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like even so, like, and then he takes understanding from them. So like with the Louis Vuitton brand, it's certain partnerships that he doesn't understand that his children do because they're younger than him. You know what I'm saying? So they be like, yo, we should partner with Pharrell.
See, he wise enough to know that.
Yeah, exactly. You feel me?
He has,
like,
he has the
feels,
emotional capacity to allow it.
Yeah, because even though he's like, why we doing, like, he got questions, you know what I'm saying? He even said it in the interview. He's like, yeah, I do got questions about some of these partnerships, but they are the best knowers in that sense.
Yeah.
Right.
So how can I stop them from doing it? And they're in the position to do so. They've qualified themselves.
Right.
It's not like I just threw them in this position and say, hey, do this. No, I shown them, I took it around, I showed them my way of life, my culture to build these businesses up and how I built these brands and empires. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that way, as they're coming up from children, when you implement them from the inception as a seed, you know what I'm saying? Of course, like when they get up, I know this shit like the back of my hand. You know what I'm saying? And it's like our people, and I feel like our people too is like, oh, let them live a childhood. Let them have, you know what I'm saying? Let them go out and play. Like, I'm pretty sure he did that, you know? But also you gotta have your child always building on substance or some type of
America.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have them building on something. They can't just be all play. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and I know when I was younger, like once I got like a skill, like when I started making beats, I felt empowered. I'm like, nah, that's all I want to do all day. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, yo, I love this. I have a love for this, and this is a passion of mine. It's not as it could be a hobby, but like a lot of kids nowadays don't even have hobbies. You know what I'm saying? And all they want to do is be on the internet and watching shit, you know? So it's like, yo, and I mean, that stems from what the parents are passing down. Hey, life, you just live life. How? What? No, it has to be an end goal, a purpose that we building on that's for family, you know what I'm saying? And to remove those traumas and to build on that, bro, it takes a hell of a man and woman, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, business is warfare.
It is.
Yes. And it's there to destroy the family structure. So what trauma does is trauma has a way of splitting a person into multiple pieces. It's like broken glass. Like that's what it does. It fractures your internals.
Yeah.
So you might have one side of you over here, this other side over there, this other piece over here, and you're all over the place. But it's designed, like trauma is a spiritual weapon that's designed for that. That's why when you get trauma, it stunts you or stops you at whatever degree of growth and development you was at when you got it. It stops you right there. I recognize that about trauma. Like it has the ability to freeze your thinking. If you got traumatized at 5, it has frozen a part of you at 5. Even though you might be 30, 40, it's a part of you that's still 5 because it's a spiritual weapon. It's a psychic attack. This shit is designed.
Yeah.
It's an invisible weapon. And is so you have to look at it.
Weapon.
It's a silent weapon for a quiet war. Silent weapons for quiet wars is a read that if you're watching this podcast, you need to Google and read that. Read it by yourself, but also try to get a group of people that you can read it with as well to speak about it. It's very, very powerful. Because trauma is a form of warfare. Because when you have trauma, now people, they're operating unconscious. And when you can get people to operate unconscious, it appears from the outside looking in that they're inflicting this trauma upon themselves. But that's not really what's going on. The trauma was inflicted artificially by something outside and put inside. But it gives the appearance as if it's them.
Yeah.
It's the art of deception.
They're the Walking Dead.
It's the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And a lot of the problems that we deal with, we have to look at them from these physical perspectives, but we have to definitely look at them from a metaphysical standpoint to understand the solutions of them. A lot of the shit we deal with is spiritual, weaponized shit that, you know what I mean? Unless your third eye is open, you ain't gonna see that.
Right.
You're not. And you're gonna be manipulated because you're so emotionally attached.
No question. And mothers, I think, one thing I notice about mothers and sons, I think a lot of trauma could come out of the space with mothers. When a mother or a woman is striving to raise a son, you know, she's faced with an impossible task of trying to, you know, raise a healthy man. The part about the task that's impossible is that obviously the woman is not a man. So you can't teach me that part.
You can't teach me how to emote as a man.
Facts.
Because you've never emoted as a man.
Never emoted as a man. And I dealt with that. Like I said, coming into my teens, I wanted to be around my dad more because I had questions for him that my mom couldn't answer.
Right.
My mom is stuck in, you know what I'm saying? My mom couldn't get above 6. You know what I'm saying? You know, no woman could get above 6, as we say, you know what I'm saying? You get 2 6, but 7 is God. But it's just like, what I mean by that is she was caught in her everyday way of life. Once they get their system working, it's that. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be hard to veer them off. You know what I'm saying? So that's why when I would ask, I would try to emote to my mom or express my emotions, it would get shut down because she's already in her, you know what I'm saying? Already in her routine and already in her habit to where it's like, yo, I'm not hearing that. You're going to throw the program off from listening to this. You know what I'm saying? Or if you're not trying to go my way, the program going to get thrown off. You know what I'm saying? But it's like with fathers, they know what it means to become a man and try to do things on your own. That's why I have respect for my father because when I would talk with him, I'm like, yo, I'm dealing with this issue right here. How you think I should go about it? And the first thing he will always say, now, I'm just giving you my solution. It's on you to choose if you want to take this route or not.
Right.
He's like, I'm not imposing this on you. Of course, I want you to do what I say, but you becoming your own man now. You got choices and decisions to make. You got responsibility. Yeah. So this is on you. Now, how I would go about this is this, and you break it down. But just even having those conversations, like, damn, yo, it is me. Like, I am the man, and now, like, that you have some weight coming into your teens, and then especially when I start getting a job, getting a car, you know, being out, you feel me? You know, experiencing different women, like, only a man could understand. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, even from a physical standpoint, you know what I'm saying? A man has, you know, male genitalia, just as well as a female has female genitalia. It's two different things, you know what I'm saying? With that, they're going to operate in different ways, you know? And it's just like a lot of women, and there's some women that understand that concept too, you know what I'm saying? But it's a man is needed to raise a man, you feel me? Just like it's on the vice versa end, you know what I'm saying? I mean, a man could raise a woman, but it's not going to be the same because he don't know what it's like to have a vagina, you know what I'm saying?
He'll end up masculinizing his daughter.
Yeah, and now she wondering why she like, you know what I'm saying? And masculinizing his daughter if he's an extremist, you know what I'm saying? Because I know also like certain when both you need both energies, man.
Depending upon his growth and development at the time he raising that person. Yeah. Right. If she ain't got it, she ain't gonna have it. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's easier. I need to make sure I'm being politically correct. I think it could be a little simpler for men to detach in certain areas of child rearing because it's like, you know, we shot that thing off at a high speed when it came, you know, when it, you know, going through our entire cerebral cortex and all of that and just going out and pew, shot out just like, whoo, you know, but then with a woman, like she's actually having to, you know, go through all the reconstructing and recalibration of her internal organs for 9 months. You know, and then you have then the attachment from the umbilical cord, you know. And so, and then when it's cut, a part of her is like, you know, it's no longer attached to her, but there's still that spiritual and emotional umbilical cord between the mother and the child.
Right.
And so whereas a father's just like, do your thing. like I, you know, you have the freedom and the choice to make your decisions. I'm right here with you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna support whatever you decide. And if it's if it's a decision that puts you in a bad situation, I'm gonna scold you in private and be like, come on now, you know, that won't the right move. But in public, I'm gonna defend you. Whereas like with a mother, she always wants to be in that protective mode. Especially when it comes to a boy.
Yeah, it's an impossible.
You know, trying to shield that boy from the world, where a boy has to learn from experience. He has to go through certain things, right or wrong.
Yeah,
he has to.
Yeah, and that's another point too, because I don't, you know, it makes me wonder, you know, motherhood in different cultures. Like for an example, us being raised in America with the condition that we're under. But let's say maybe you was, born in an African tribe. Like, do those mothers in those tribes interact with their sons in that same way? Because maybe they got like a rites of like on Roots, like they was in the midst of Kunta Kinte was among the boys. They were having a rites of passage ceremony in the midst of him getting captured. Mm-hmm. Part of that was him to go out into the jungle, get a stump, and make a drum out of it. Yeah, that's what he was doing at the point of him being captured. That was a part of the rites of passage program. Now there was no women there. It was just all the males there.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So maybe they obviously it was systems set up in play for purposeful detachment in that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas we don't have that.
Yeah, we don't have rites of passage.
No type of shit like that.
We have no rites of passage whatsoever. So like our rites of passage is systemic in the sense of, and if you're in a public school system, that's literally your rites of passage.
Right.
All right. Graduate first grade, second grade,
right.
Made it to middle school, made it to high school.
Right.
All right, now you have options. Military, college.
Hell of options.
Or trade school.
It's crazy.
Like, that's it. There's no taking over family business. There's no building of a house. There's no learning how to, shoot a firearm.
It's crazy.
It's none of that.
It's crazy.
There's no required reading. There's no required reading of a book.
Right.
Or any type of training
to
get you to the next level. And then because society is moving so fast, there's going to be so many children out here that have no idea how to operate AI, no idea how to, operate blockchain.
Right. Totally dependent.
Yeah. Totally dependent.
I don't like that.
I think that's one of the things I do. I mean, I value my mom greatly, of course, but like one of the key things that I really appreciate her for is like early on in my growth and development as a child, she would give me learning toys, learning tools, learning things. She wouldn't give me no bullshit like, of course I got the video games as I got older, but like 1 year, I'm not even 1 year old. She got the ABC joint in front of me where I press the joint and make the sound. Like,
technical stuff.
Like she's making me, she's already trying to teach me as soon as I get out the womb. You know what I'm saying? And even my father's parents was like, yo, why you always trying to give him some educational stuff? And why, like my mom would be like, because he need to learn, he need to know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it ain't no age that you could put on learning. You know what I'm saying? Like, even babies learn. Babies are growing and developing. You know what I'm saying?
Respect
physically and mentally.
Right.
Yeah.
Respect.
And it's like, I'm glad she did that because it was like early on as a child, like, even when I take classes, from like, until I got to college, bro, I didn't really have to study like that. You know what I'm saying? Because she already embedded not only the culture of, what you do. You get home, do your homework, study, boom. You know what I'm saying? But it got to the point I was so routine that all I had to do was pay attention in class and in school. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
By the time the test come up, I'm passing with flying colors. It was effortless. You feel me? Like,
yeah.
And it's like I do value her for that, and I greatly appreciate her for that because she didn't abide by the societal norm of let a kid be a kid and let it, like,
whatever
that means.
Like
whatever that means.
Yeah,
like,
whatever that means.
Yeah, like because I used to be mad sometimes she wouldn't, like, my mom would let me go outside. That's the overprotective mother side. And I'd be like, yo, why you ain't let me go outside? But at the same time, I see why now. Because it's like a lot of my peers who was outside, like they was outside while I was making beats. And like, yo, now in my music career, like I'm, for independent artists, I'm well known in Virginia. I got to credit that to her because she was like, yo, stay inside, work on what you want to work on. Mm-hmm. Like, of course she wanted me to work on homework and school shit, but that's like, yo, once I got hold of the beats and music, it was over. Like, I'm cultivating this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then anybody else, y'all could be outside. I don't give a fuck about outside now because I got this. You know what I'm saying? This is what however it goes, however it go, but this is my thing right here, Like, I think that's another thing as parents too, to help with kids to understand the trauma that their parents are going through, is to give them something to keep their mind off. You know what I'm saying? Not off it, but give them something that relaxes the mind and soothes the mind in the time being. You know what I'm saying? That is actually going to help them grow and develop. So they can have an understanding, you know what I'm saying? And they can actually have their own thoughts and their own knowledge in their own mind. So when it comes up to things like this, instead of having a resentment or just emoting, you know what I'm saying, or having your trauma response, you can actually have an actual educated response. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So it's like I'm glad my mom did that, but like I said, it's just trauma, man. We all fighting through this shit, bro.
Yeah, and it goes back to just emotional intelligence. Trauma can be mitigated with more emotional intelligence and us being able to be more of, just like I'm not against doctors or psychologists or therapists. I'm not against any of that. I think all of those are great, but I think I don't like to depend necessarily on those as just the only mediums. And I know that we as a people really do. And we think that we can't solve our own problems sometimes.
Systemic.
Yeah, that's systemic. Because we can solve you have all of the answers within inside of self. It's just being able to be shown some of them. Understanding your parents' trauma, I think, is very great as well, because now you can understand their ways and actions. You can understand why they raised you in this fashion or not. So it's understanding their trauma is very important before I even unpack my own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Understanding grandparents' trauma is the prerequisite for me to unpack my own, because I know that it's most of them are intergenerational because of the condition that our people have been in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that they go hand in hand. I think, my mom, one of the things I think I've learned from my mother is, I'm very amazed at the level of strength due to the deck of cards that she was dealt. I'm just like,
yeah.
It's like,
yeah, like when you look back at your parents and what they went through, you like, you made it out of that.
Right.
Yeah, damn.
Right. That's like, man. So it's like,
ahead and let me give you a round of applause.
Right.
Cause shit.
And I'm dealing with this. So it's like, and even if I'm dealing with something that appears to be difficult, that is an example of a feat that's undeniable to be like, yeah, I can deal with this.
Yeah, because like when I learned that my mom was molested, like before she was even a teen, and like the fact that she didn't turn out to be like hypersexual or, anything like that, I'm just like, still, have her wits about her.
Right.
Not be, destructive.
Right.
Or, anything like that. I'm just like, bravo, woman.
Right.
Bravo.
Right.
Shit.
Right. Right. And whatever other ways you might have channeled that energy into that was affecting me, I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I get it. I ain't even
mad.
Mad at you.
Right. You did what you had to do with the cars that you had.
I like how you zig that. Cause maybe
if it was me,
I mean,
I probably would have off somebody.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. And so I look at that from my mom's. I really am impressed with that. Like my mom, she doesn't drink or smoke. And it's funny because, that my mother's side of the family, the plague drug of choice over that in that side was the dope and some other shit.
Heroin.
Yeah.
That was on my mother's side of the family too.
Yeah.
And amazingly, she didn't get caught into that on any level.
Right.
I'm just like,
how
the fuck did you navigate?
Yeah. But I do see where you might have channeled the energy. I see where it went.
Yeah.
It's like, I get it.
Yeah, like a lot of the times we'll go into work to like overperform.
Yeah.
To get away from those conditions and locations.
Yeah.
Into something better. So you be like, all right, I don't got to worry about this. I don't got to deal with it. I don't got to think about if some that I own is going to be missing.
Right.
Be pawned off.
Right.
So someone can, because they jonesing. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I, my dad, I think for him, one thing I learned from my dad is I learned consistency. That's one of the biggest things. Like I take consistency now. I mean, I play sports, so I take consistency into everything I do. It's like when I really want to do something, I already know that if I can just be consistent at it, that's half the battle.
Right.
Now, it's been definitely things that I haven't been consistent in, and I learned I experienced what not being consistent does. But I learned how to be consistent from my dad.
Right.
I learned that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I appreciate that as well. So I mean, we just look at these different things and we appreciate them for the growth and development that they were at, as well as our grandparents as well. It's definitely us all love. But we're just trying to figure out how we can do better. And that requires the questioning of these things.
Like learn to do better, and then at the same time not misjudging those before us that didn't do quite as well.
Yeah.
Like that is a battle in and of
That's
itself.
a battle.
We come around them just like, oh, what's up, baby? And we just like, your pork lips off me.
Pork lips off me. Just finished eating a pulled barbecue sandwich. I don't want your lips on me right now.
That hog mode, man.
Right.
Nah, for real.
Nah, but I appreciate the hug. You know.
Right. Hey, and that just goes with understanding. You know what I'm saying?
It does.
Yeah.
And then we can even learn things from our parents just because of what they didn't do.
Yeah.
Like because my dad wasn't present. I learned to be present with my own children because he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, yeah, I don't want my children to experience like, you know, where's dad at? Like, oh, I have no memories with him. I don't know his voice. I don't know his voice. You know, I don't know his favorite music. I don't know his dress code. I don't know his favorite cologne. I don't know nothing.
Yeah.
You know, but now, like, you know, anytime y'all come over, you know, I'm probably whipping y'all ass in Mario Kart or Trivial Pursuit or something like that with the kids.
Yeah, and that's what would be fun too, bro, to see, you know what I'm saying, be around your family. You know, I think it's a privilege because I get to see a full working unit in unison and actually enjoying themselves. I know it comes with, you know, trying times too, but every time I come around, I'll be fun, man. You know what I'm saying? Hang with the
get fed,
man.
Y'all be good
like,
over there.
nah, for real, man. Like, you know, that shit is dope, bro. You know, and to see that's another thing too, to see how your growth and development as a man based off your circumstances makes me look at my circumstances where I had to go through like, man, my shit ain't nothing compared to my brothers, you know what I'm saying? Like, not to try to judge them on the scale, but it just be like, yo, my brother went through way worse than I can, and I'm over here complaining to bitch about some little shit. Nah, I need to, you know what I'm saying, nip that in the bud and keep moving. You feel what I'm saying?
I appreciate that.
Like,
you know, I don't ever look at it like that. I just enjoy when y'all pull up.
Yeah, of course. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But it's like, I also know when I'm going through my little shit, like, you know what I'm saying, with my peoples, I'd be like, man, I can't even complain because it's people who had worse. You know what I'm saying?
I think we can all learn from our own traumas and other people's traumas.
Yeah.
And just, you know, fine tune,
you
know, our frequencies and things like that. To be better, teach better, live better, eat better.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's definitely a refinement situation. I think something that's dangerous, I think, with children is I think painting false perceptions become very dangerous. I see how it happens when you get older. What happens when you get older, when you had a false perception, you become very angry because the perception that was illustrated to your eyes and ears is not what you thought it to be. But you had no way to not take things on face value as a child.
Right.
That's really half the battle, which is why I say it's perspective and perception. It's not even really real. It's real, but it's not really real. Because as a child, you were very, very vulnerable to any perception that was being consistently marketed to you. So it's like, when you grow up and find out that, damn, that wasn't what I thought it was, you can become but you got to realize you already had a misconception from the jump.
Right. But that takes a level of self-awareness that,
question.
You know, many may not own. So like the initial response is to fight.
Right. I get it. I get it. I get it. It's so funny, man, where the layers of you know, objectivity and subjectivity, it's like a tier, like it's a ladder you got to keep going up and down.
And
like,
a lot of times it's like they intertwine as they're going up and down. They intertwine. You're just like, is this objective? Nope, it's actually subjective. Shit. But it was just subjective up here. No, but it's subjective down here. You just like, what?
That's why when you it's like when you telling kids about and different people have different concepts of telling children about, you know, holidays or things of that nature. For an example, Santa Claus is coming down the chimney. Now, there's nothing wrong with that from a food for thought to, you know, stimulate creativity in the kid's mind. At the same time,
I ain't got no chimney.
I don't have a chimney. And it's nobody coming down this to, like, being honest, like, ain't nobody coming down this.
Okay.
So that you don't paint these illusory, because a child's mind is creative. It's super illusory. So it can get dangerous quick in that space.
Coming down the chimney, what attention?
But you don't want to cut off the ability for them to have imagination.
Right.
But you also want to balance it out with
the reality.
And
truth.
You know what I mean? Right. And I think that can, different parents, different people have different concepts about that when they have children. Mm-hmm. So then, this is where these other traumas that can be produced later come into play, because, you might have one parent that was a little bit more, they really ain't speak through reality. They spoke through false concepts.
And imagination.
Yeah.
Fantasy.
And it's like, it helped you in one area. It's going to be a positive, negative, everything. It's going to help you be creative and imaginative, but it also could give you false concepts, and you start living your life off them concepts. And the mathematics that come back from that, you're not understanding why you keep getting these results, because your concepts is fucked up.
Yeah.
But you never look at it as your concepts are messed up because it came from a parent that was so close to your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it goes into a level of morality, just like feeling wrong. And then or having to go back to your parents, just like, I don't want to tell them that they were wrong. Because then if I do tell them that they're wrong and they don't want to deal with that reality,
where does that put us?
Yeah. Is it going to strain the relationship? Mm-hmm. So now you have an adult child having to deal with fawning, and then potentially parent dealing with fighting.
That's
all
a rough
these different
space.
All these different trauma responses at all simultaneous. And just like, and a lot of times it don't even occur because it's just in someone's head.
Yeah.
All this in someone's
We're
head.
all projecting.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That shit is a funny space to operate in. I do have difficulty in that space. That's a reality there. But everybody's trauma response is going off like in a Rubik's Cube all at the same time. It's like, wow. Because how do you even clear that up? Because it's like...
Respectfully.
Yeah, respectfully.
Because again, there's respect could be defined differently per person.
Yeah.
Then we all speak in different languages.
Yeah.
We speak in English.
Yeah.
Or whatever, but we speak in different languages.
Yeah, because the tone is coming out like, don't talk to me in that tone.
Right.
Watch your tone.
Right.
Who do you think you're talking to?
Cloudy and stormy.
Who are you to talk to me about this?
Right.
Yeah.
Mind your manners. Respect your elders.
All of this in the way of us getting to the root.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We can't solve the problem because of emotion. It's like emotions are so necessary. On the flip side of the coin, they get so much in the goddamn way to solving problems sometimes.
Logic versus emotion.
Logic versus emotion. This balance.
It's always going to be a balance, you know what I'm saying?
Always.
Like, it's always going to be a balance, man. I would say to wrap this thing up, what is, from both of y'all, what is one thing you would want, or want some advice you would give somebody who's navigating in a space of parental trauma? What's a word of advice that you would give to them?
Try to see things from everyone's angle, not just your own. See your angle and know where your angle is at personally for you, but also take time to see what other people's viewpoint or experience from that same thing is about. You want to see things from a multifaceted angle so that you can get the best understanding. Looking at things sometimes too much from your own personal view can limit your scope of understanding of a situation. So if you're dealing with family trauma or any type of trauma, strive your best to understand what everyone that is involved, what are their perspectives about it. And I think a lot of the answer to solving it, you'll find it in that space.
That's you, true.
Parental trauma advice. I think I gotta agree with what Born Syncear said. Yeah, I think I gotta agree with that one.
Yeah.
So I don't want to give anything that's subjective. I think that's a very objective viewpoint or objective advice to give that can pertain to anyone.
And I also say to add on to your point, you know what I'm saying? Don't falter people because they once were where you are now. You know what I'm saying? Trying to figure things out, striving to sort things out. It was just in a different degree and in a different level with the current spaces and elements in the atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? Because your parents are not you, and they're not going to do what you do. That's why you are your own being within itself. You know what I'm saying? But at a certain point in time in life, they were once where you were at in age. You know what I'm saying? Amongst peers, and sometimes even in the same experiences of life. So, you know, just remember they once were where you were at. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's older and they might seem like they got all the answers and all that, try to impose them upon you. Just remember, they come from where you came from. You know what I'm saying? Like they've probably tried smoking weed before. They probably tried sneaking out before, done that. You know what I'm saying? The things that we experience as kids, don't let that, or the things that we experience as kids now, don't think that they haven't experienced them before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man. That's to conclude this episode, man. I'm alive, victorious.
I'm True Universal.
Born Syncear.
And this is When the Gods Build.
Peace.
Peace.